for stopping by the channel. My name's Leah, and let's get into this recap and review of Real Housewives of New Jersey. It was dry. It was cute, but it was dry. Yeah, it was dry. Let's get into it. If I find something on the timeline that I feel is salacious, we bring it to the review. So supposedly, like I told y'all last review, they filmed the reunion, I think actually like last weekend. I think last weekend. And someone posted that Teresa was like smoking a cigarette after filming the New Jersey reunion. So that got everybody like, oh my gosh, the reunion was a mess. They stressing Teresa out. And then there was allegedly some tea, like it hopped up on the timeline, but I didn't know how creditable it was. But Andy Cohen allegedly said that like the reunion was like difficult. And I'm like, how was the reunion difficult? Honestly, excuse me, y'all, New Jersey doesn't have a lot of, there's not a lot of like beefs between people. Like there's rifts, but like it's not enough that I think they could spend 45 minutes on a segment other than it would be Jennifer and Margaret. But it seems like Jennifer and Margaret are cool, so I don't know. I was just kind of like, wow. And then the other thing I want to talk about is supposedly, which is really messed up because I actually saw the video. A group of like, it looked like teenagers stole Bill and Jennifer's red Ferrari that we see in the show all the time. And Jennifer posted this on Twitter. She says, Bill's Ferrari got stolen from our garage in Parismouth within the within the last house hour and a half. Please message any info, or if anyone has seen the red Ferrari, California, please notify the Portsmouth PD. So supposedly, I guess in New Jersey, especially in that area, they always have a lot of car thefts. And I guess because I was reading comments and people were saying like they don't think it's fake because, you know, we know some girls like the stage, but they're basically saying that people steal cars and then they'll like ship the parts overseas, and that's how they get money. So hopefully they get their car back, and hopefully they can invest in a good security system, because the video I saw was legitimately like these kids going in, and the scary thing is that her kids were home. Like it doesn't seem like Bill and Jennifer were home. It was like the kids were actually at the house and then their car got stolen. But yeah, y'all. So let's get into this dry episode. Like I said in the intro, it was cute, but it was dry. Only 4 things really happened. We saw Teresa packing up her home, Jackie and her children, and then Melissa and her kids, and then Marge Sr.'s big celebration because she turned 75. So we'll start from least. So Teresa and her kids. So Teresa and the girls are packing up because we all know they're about to move in with Louis. And, you know, they bought this nice home and they're all about to like, merge their families. The girls kind of don't want to leave. They're really just like, this is our childhood home. We don't want to leave, you know, and I understand because I've been there. Being a kid who's when I was a kid, I was an Army brat. So I understand you feeling like this is where you like want to stay. You have your friends here. This is your home. And then the government said, your parents got to go. So we have to move to a different. So I understand that. In all honesty, y'all, if I'm being honest, I've always thought they should have moved out that home the moment their dad got deported. I just feel like that house is so like interwoven with like good times but toxicity, and I feel like the toxicity outweighs the good times, if I'm being all the way 100. I just like, you know, a lot has happened at that home, but I also understand them wanting to keep the home and have it. You got like, they shared it with their mom, with their grandma, Teresa's mom, and their grandfather who just recently passed away. And like, you understand them having like these beautiful memories running around that house, and now everything's changing. And I think for the kids, it might be too fast. And I think that's my issue with Teresa. It's like, there's nothing wrong with her being with Louis if that's who she want to be with. I know there's a lot of red flags, like, you know, just they out there. But if she's choosing to ignore them, that's on her. But I don't think it's fair for her to not see that her kids might not necessarily, I won't say might, aren't ready for that big leap for them to all move into a house together. And it would be better if she took her time, but she's not, because I always say about Teresa and Louis, I think this is the first time Teresa has ever felt like somebody genuinely cared, that made her feel taken care of. I think we oftentimes forget that, like, Teresa hasn't had the best, like, I mean, I don't think people forget. I just think we're so used to somebody being beat upon verbally by her man, and her always putting up this front like, I'm this strong Italian, I can take it, I don't need y'all trying to protect me, that, like, the moment when she met somebody who was the total opposite of her husband but made her feel protected, she ran to him without understanding that, like, it's a lot of stuff with him that's not adding up. We also see Dolores comes over. A lot of the things Teresa is donating, she's donating it to the women's shelter, and we know Dolores works with the women's shelter. So I thought that was nice. Dolores brings up about David again, which I'm sick of her bringing up. And that's the crazy thing, especially with Dolores. Dolores really hasn't had like a storyline per se. Mainly because if you think about it, it's been David and her mom, unfortunately, needing like a triple bypass. But other than that, and Frank trying to fix their house, Dolores hasn't given us anything. And I don't think Dolores understands that, like, nobody cares about you and David, because the majority of people already felt like the relationship between Dolores and David was non-existent, because he never wanted to be on TV. And then Dolores, you could tell, was like overcompensating, trying to make it seem like she was okay with him not being around, when, like, honestly, she wanted him to be a part, because he seemed like such a great guy, but he is totally dedicated to his career. And that's the thing, like, you want doctors like that, but those are also the doctors that be jumping off of buildings. Like, you know, I have a lot of friends that work in the medical field that are doctors, and they have told me the ones that are that strict and it's all about their career, they wake up one moment and they realize that they haven't made something outside of the hospital, so they don't know how to detach themselves and break away. So a lot of the bad things that happen in hospitals, you know, people dying, families thinking you didn't do enough, you feeling like you didn't do enough for a patient, that weighs upon you, and it normally ends in a very negative route. So that was Teresa in the girls segment, everybody getting ready. It was kind of like, I felt bad when Teresa started crying. I feel like Teresa is very affected by what happened between her and Joe, about going to jail, about her parents passing away. Like, if you truly think about it, Teresa, I want to say after season 2, has not had each season has been been trash. It's been horrible for that lady. And oftentimes it's because she made the decisions, and other times it's just the people around her, but baby. But yeah, let's get to the next one. Melissa and Antonia. So we see Antonia and Melissa go to the gym. And you know what? Melissa was getting on my nerves. She really was. But I feel like she was still doing what a parent should do, but she was still getting on my nerves. So earlier in the episode, there was a scene where Tiki and Tracy, and I think their youngest daughter, I forgot the little girl's name. She a cute little kid. She's like 5 years old, about to go to kindergarten. And they go over to Joe's house. And Joe and Melissa is like, you know, their rental home. And they're playing football with the boys. Tiki was saying that he hated getting tackled. He was like, the only reason I was fast because I was trying to outrun them so they wouldn't tackle me, which is smart, because we know a lot of these men out here who play for the NFL got CTE issues, even though you can't diagnose someone with a CTE until you know, they unfortunately pass away and then they examine your brain. But a lot of them, you can tell it's the lights is on, but the person that was in there done got knocked out of there a couple of times on that field. Yeah, we got to do better. You know what's crazy? And, I'm going on a tangent. If you're into rugby, I've always wondered why rugby players are able to sustain such massive, like, they be doing the same thing. And then I did research and found out that it's because of the equipment that we think is supposed to protect us over here that people get so messed up versus you just running into somebody with nothing on. But then both sports is a lot of aggression. So you be worried about the people. But the boys were playing, and then Melissa and Tracy were having a conversation. So supposedly Tracy's daughter, the little girl, isn't very like social, and Tracy is worried about it. She probably think the little girl might have like some type of autism, or maybe possible social anxiety. But I think, when you're that young, you're always uncomfortable, or maybe she's just a little shy kid. It's okay for your child to be shy. Like, your child does not have to be an internet personality. Like, it's okay for a kid to just be a kid and just be like, I don't want to be around adults. I'm in my bubble. Let me color and quietly talk to myself. But the little girl goes to therapy, which I give Tracy a point. Like, if she really felt like something was wrong with the girl, or like the girl needed assistance in some aspect, I think it's great that she took the initiative to go to put the little girl in therapy. Tiki feels like it's a bit much, but I understand, like, being I don't have kids, so I understand her wanting to make sure her child okay. So then Melissa is also expressing how, like, she's uncomfortable with Antonia not wanting to do gymnastics. And I think this part made it a little bit more palatable and it gave us a leeway, like not a leeway, but an access into what Melissa is going through and why she feels this way about Antonia. Because up until now, it just felt like she was just trying to push the girl, but not listen to her. And we oftentimes feel like, I know a majority of people, and me included, Melissa coddles her sons and like dotes on them, but she doesn't do it to her daughter, which it should be equal. Like, you should be coddling. If you're going to coddle one child, coddle all of them. If you're going to dote on one kid, dote on all of them. But, like, don't leave nobody out. So, basically, what Melissa was saying, like, when Melissa and Tracy, not Melissa and Tracy, I said Melissa and Tracy, y'all. When Melissa was a little girl, and we all know her dad passed away, unfortunately, and then she moved to Florida, and she was saying, like, she just had a really hard time. Like, she was going through depression. I hate that Melissa says a little depression. Girl, it's depression. It ain't little, it's depression. Girl, call it what it is. She was saying that she was going through the girl was going through depression. Like, her daddy died, and then they moved, and then she wasn't accepted in high school, the new high school that they moved to. And then she was making bad decisions, sneaking out of the house, not respecting her mom. And I guess Melissa is worried that her daughter is going to get caught up in that. And she feels like that's what she's seeing, and it's stressing her out. So we see later on in the episode that Antonia and Melissa end up going to the gym, and it's basically physical therapy. It was nice. The little girl putting weight on her knees. She's jumping higher, and she actually says she might want to get back into tumbling, which Melissa is so excited. So they have a conversation. Antonia is in that stage where everything her mom says annoys her. Because Melissa could say, oh, we're having a lovely day. Shut up. It's not lovely. And it's like, girl. Or the sky is blue. Shut up. It's pink. Like, that's the energy Antonia is on. But basically, Antonia and Melissa talk. And Melissa basically shares with Antonia, I was going through a little depression. And Antonia was like, you're acting like I was depressed. Girl, you were. Like, she's like, I wasn't depressed. You were. You've been depressed. Like, you tore your ACL. You moved to a new school. You probably were scared that you were going to hurt yourself again or never be able to tumble to the same level that you have been because of hurting yourself. And you felt like your parents didn't take into consideration that moving you in the middle of high school or in the middle of like this high school year wasn't fair to you. Like, that's a lie. You were depressed and you probably were stressed. So they have a moment. I think Antonia said, no, you're a good mom. And Melissa almost cried. But I was glad that they talked it out. I saw some people saying, like, Melissa's storyline is her daughter. And I was like, duh, that's her child. Like, I don't understand. I mean, it's just how we get annoyed with Lisa Rinna making her kids like her storyline, like their boyfriends, their relationships. But this is actually something serious, or like mildly serious, where it's like the little girl is going through like growing pains of being like a 15, almost 16-year-old child, and Melissa is having difficulties with it. Many of the women who watch reality TV or men have teenage kids and probably know what the heck Melissa is going through and what the little girl going through. So miss me with that. Okay, so the next scene was Jackie and her kids. I was actually very proud of her. She actually went to the ice cream shop with her 4 kids, and they had ice cream. And y'all know Jackie get on my nerves, but I was proud of her because I know that doing this had to be extremely uncomfortable. As someone like, well, I've never had an eating disorder, but I know what it feels like to have anxiety. So I know she had to be anxious and like nervous because this was probably something that, like she said, she has never done this. Like she never breaks her rules of eating. So she has ice cream. You can tell her kids were like so happy to have this moment with her. She was trying their ice cream. They were trying her ice cream. And it was just very sweet. The crazy thing is like realizing that the kids know more than they let on. Because you could tell that the kids were like when the little boy said, "Ooh, I don't think mommy likes it." They know. Like the truth of the matter, and it's crazy how adults feel like kids don't know. Trust me, as someone who used to work in children's church with the kids will tell your business in a hot minute. They be like, "Miss Lee, I got something to tell you." Be like, "What?" and they be like, "Oh, so you know my mom and dad got into it. My daddy sleeping on the couch." And I'm like, "Charles, don't tell me that. But tell me that. Tell me more." So I'm just like, kids know things that even if you try not to try to shelter them, they know things. So even trying to act like you trying to protect them, they gonna find out. They're smarter than we like to give them credit. So she ends up going to the therapist, and I'll give Evan this because y'all know Evan get on my nerves now. Evan gets on my nerves now. But when it was revealed in the therapy session that Evan has always been trying to help Jackie and trying to be there for her, but she's always pushing him away or being very defensive. And then they juxtapose that between Evan and Jackie actually talking, getting ready for March Senior's celebration. And he's like, "I'll love you no matter what size you get. As long as you're healthy, I'm cool." And I think that's wonderful that Jackie has that, because some women and even men don't have that. There's a lot of people that you see, there's a lot of assholes out there who the moment you get sick, they out the door. And it legit, whether it be male or female, because I've seen women type things about men leaving them, and I've seen men type things about women leaving them. So, and even in same-sex relationships, I've seen that. So I think it's just in general, people can be like, "This is not what I signed up for," and then be out. I'm happy she got that, because not many people have that. I mean, he better than me, because me, if I'm constantly I don't like to do that. I don't like to extend myself to be constantly rejected. And I think that's a testament to how much he loves Jackie. Because if it was me, I would chuck the deuces. We would still be together, but I'm not talking to you about this anymore. Because I'm not going to constantly try to give you options to better yourself. And you be like, no. And I also understand it's serious. It's an eating disorder, so it's different. But I'd be annoyed with you all the time. But yeah, I'm happy for her. I hope she's doing better now. I've told y'all before, I don't follow any of these women. If I see stuff on the timeline, it's because of the people I follow. They be reposting stuff. But I do hope she's okay. I hope she's gained weight in a healthy time frame. And I just I hope she's doing better. The therapist said, "Are you gonna ever take your kids out for pizza?" And she was like, "Hold your horse, Bill, we got to build." So hopefully one day we'll see her take her kids out to go get pizza. What I found interesting though is her trying to this is why I oftentimes feel like maybe this show isn't for Jackie because of this eating disorder. Because Jackie let it be known in the therapy session that when she gets stressed, she restricts herself from food. Whereas other people might, like, binge eat. I do that sometimes. I'm an emotional eater. And do that. And I just thought, and she was bringing up how, like, she got into a fight with a friend. Things like the friend and her stressed her out. It was over her husband, so her husband was in it, and she was like, I'm tired of being nice to people or trying to keep peace just so I don't have like just so I don't have a freak out moment and it gets this way, because she ended up losing 2 or 3 pounds. And this is my thing. Housewives is meant to be stressful. Housewives is meant to be petty and messy. So it's like, if you already knew you had this issue or had this disease or this disorder, I don't understand why you would put yourself in the line of fire. Like, I really don't. Because when Jackie came in her first season, Jackie came in swinging at Teresa. So it's like, you didn't care that you caused her stress or anything like that. But I don't know. It's just, I oftentimes wonder, why would she come on the show with this? And then that was like, that's what I was kind of like, that's probably what happened. Like, in my mind, when I was like, we know Jackie has an eating disorder, but then to find out she lost 2 or 3 pounds, which is not good for her because she already skinny as it is because of the situation with Teresa, I felt like, why be a part of this show if it's going to stress you out that bad to make you revert to like very severe and deadly habits? But that's just me. Thing is Marge Sr.'s huge celebration for her 75th birthday. So it's going to be all Hungarian theme. I don't remember Marge saying that her family immigrated here, but we got the backstory. So basically, it was during the Hungarian Revolution, and Marge Sr.'s family, her mom and her dad basically had to flee the country. They woke up in the middle of the night, put on nothing but the clothes that they had on their back, and they hauled out of there. Unfortunately, I think she said when Marge Sr. was 10, she almost got like in trouble because she crossed the border on a bike to another spot, I guess to another area, and she almost got hurt. So her family decided, like, at that point, we got to leave. So Austria opened its borders, and Marge's family was able to go to Austria. But then when they got the go ahead, I guess, to be able to immigrate and become refugees in America, they got on the first plane to America. I don't remember what president they said, but they got here in America on Christmas Eve, and she was gifted a doll. So I think she said Roosevelt, but I could be wrong. I only know, I think I know 1, 2, hold up. Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Bill, Bush, old Bush, Obama, Biden. I know 8. No, I do know more. I know 10. I know about 10 or 12. Learning about presidents was never anything interesting to me. Just a bunch of old white men. Nothing, But they're going to make the theme of the actual party Hungarian. They have really cute names for the table, like Horny Hungarian. That's the table where Joe was going to be at. Then they had something else about Budapest something. So, like, all really cute stuff. I will say the food at that party looked unseasoned and undercooked. And I was kind of surprised because I often think when people immigrate from other countries, they bring their flavor with them. But then again, I've never had Hungarian food before. Well, no, I have. We did it at school one time. But that was just like one dish. So I was just kind of like, eh. So it didn't hit for me. So I was just like, that food looked nasty. Marge and her mom looked really nice in the all white outfits. It was cute. Everybody was invited except Teresa, which is understandable. Yeah, it's understandable. Like, if you don't want her there, it's your mama's celebration. It's understandable. So everyone gets there. We find out that Dolores wants to go to Nashville because she hasn't been anywhere because of, the Panasonic, and then with her mom being sick and having to go to the hospital and get the surgery. So they're going to Nashville, and we're going to get that infamous scene of Teresa knocking glasses off the table. Marge stay. They stay getting to Marge. But it was a nice celebration. And the guys were wondering if Bill was going to show up. It was funny how Evan was like, him and Bill had like a conversation, and then they showed the text message, and Evan texted Bill and said, "Hey man, I'm sorry," and Bill did the okay sign. Like, Bill don't fool with Evan. Bill do not fool with Evan. But Joe was upset, and the crazy thing is, like, I was happy Frank said in his confessional, Joe doesn't really deserve an apology. He doesn't. Like, I understand where, like, so this is the thing. I understand where Joe was coming from. Like, my wife and your wife got into it. The least thing you could do was check up on me and see if I was okay, if my wife was okay, and that's it. But you didn't, and I felt some type of way, and I felt embarrassed and shameful that we got kicked out your house. And, excuse me, and you could tell Joe was upset because it looked like he was about to cry, but I don't know if it was because he was drunk. I don't know. Or a little tipsy. But he was just like, it really hurt my feelings. And Bill says, my wife was she did a lot, but a lot of things led up to her doing a lot. And, we shouldn't be getting into women's stuff, which I kind of agree with. But I also understand that at that point in time, it was a tag team. Melissa and Joe came at Jennifer, like, with that Instagram post. So Jennifer was out there fighting for her life, and it was 2 against 1. So Joe is the one that made it like a free for all for both genders to be a part of it. So they apologized. It ended with a nice night. I thought it was weird that they like reintroduced Marge Sr. and she didn't have on a new outfit. Like, I was just kind of like, if y'all are going to throw this huge party for her, why didn't y'all like give her a second outfit to bust out with when they reintroduced her to E? But she said, Marge Sr. said it was the best birthday she's ever had. She enjoyed it. Marge's speech was very sweet. I don't know. Sometimes Marge contradicts herself because it's like, you wrote this book saying how awful of a mom your mom was. Like, you didn't feel protected. You didn't feel safe. But then you also said she was a great mom and made you feel like you could do anything. So it's weird. That was weird to me. But I did think the speech was beautiful. I also thought it was nice that Bill said one day, like he said, maybe someday to Jennifer that you and your mom can be up there and y'all can have this moment, which I hope they can. And then Jennifer said in her confessional, she was just kind of like, I thought me and Marge were different. I thought she was just this cold-hearted, harpy. But now I'm realizing we might have more in common than I thought, because I can tell that she loves hard just like I do. We also found that, like, before the party, Bill and Jennifer were talking because everyone was wondering if Bill was going to come to the celebration. And Bill was like, I'll come, I'll put on a brave face. But he was like, I'm like, yeah. But Jennifer was happy because she was like, at least he's making an effort. Because for the past few weeks, I felt like he didn't care. And I just wanted him to care. But yeah, y'all, that's it. That's all. Remember to be bravely authentic. Drop down in them comments below. And let me know your thoughts. Are y'all, was it a drive for you? Did you like it that Teresa didn't come to the party? Because some people were saying that the party was missing Teresa. But the party wasn't about her. But we gonna see some mess and some shenanigans heat up when they go to Nashville. She gonna knock them cuffs away. But I'm out, y'all. Deuces. Y'all, I forgot to mention, we got some history. Some history, y'all. So the place that they had Marge Sr.'s birthday at is the infamous christening, like the same event where the infamous christening fight happened. And it was so funny when Melissa and Joe were walking up to there where they were like brought up the christening, and Melissa was trying to act like somebody else ruined her party other than Joe. Because people just like, it's just like that whole fight, it was epic, but it was so ghetto. It was so ghetto. I just remember Melissa getting on her friend, do you want me to kiss your feet? I'm sorry. and her getting on the floor. I'm sorry, like being so dramatic. Then Joe trying to fight Joe Gorga, and that one man holding on to Joe, pushing Joe away, and then them trying to go. Oh, I just couldn't leave without mentioning that because I saw the clip online and I was like, that was a time to be alive. That was a time to be alive. Bye bye, y'all.